Hi, this is Lon Rubin from The New Regime, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Punkvideosrock.
This is probably the longest you've been touring on your own project for quite some time already, right?
Yeah,
What has that been like for you?
It's been fantastic. So The New Regime has been out pretty consistently since August of last year, obviously. And there was a little break there, not by my choice, just the music industry likes to take a 2-month nap at the end of the year and the beginning of the next year. So during that time, I wrote music and did all that sort of stuff. But yeah, we've been out since August of last year, and it's been with a real variety of people. I mean, we started with, played a couple shows with Drench from the UK, Failure, Gang of Four, Dead Sarah. We ended the year playing with a couple shows with Muse in Mexico. Yeah. We've been out with the Muse since February, and after this we're going back out with Muse for 4 shows in Europe, which will be great. But I mean, it's what keeps me even keeled, because it's like, this is what I love to do. Right. So it's when the shows stop that I'm like, well, what now? What would I do now?
Now the fact that it's such a diversity of like genres that you're going out on tour with, does that really change the performance or the setup that you're going to do for every tour?
Very good question, and the answer is yes. Now, here's the thing. I mean, I like to pride myself on the New Regime's music being very diverse. Right. You know, I don't think it's fun when a band just has one sound and they do one thing, because, like anything, that'll get old quickly. So, from the beginning of the New Regime, I always wanted to write as much music and as different from song to song as I possibly could. Mm. But that gives me the leeway to be able to kind of craft sets depending on who we're playing with. So if we need to kind of throw in stuff that's a little more aggressive, stuff that's a little more mellow, up-tempo, slower, I have all that at my disposal. Because I mean, at this point, there are 2 albums and 2 EPs out, so there's quite a bit of music. But at the same time, you want to do enough where like you represent yourself as much as possible. Exactly. But you're still, in a way, catering to people who don't know who you are, and you know, you want to pique their interest and keep them interested. Because, you know, when you go to a show, most of these people are here, for example, tonight for the Used. I know that. I'm well aware of that. You know, I'm still playing my music, but I have to do my best to entertain those people and get them to walk out going, that New Regime show is good. I wasn't expecting that. So many people say, I didn't know there was an opener tonight. And it's like, well, now you know. Yeah, but it's good.
You've been writing your material, your exhibits, actually, while you've been on tour with other bands. Yeah. How long did it really take for you to adjust to that kind of lifestyle for your music?
No time at all, because I always have an instrument with me, whether it's a guitar, a laptop and a MIDI controller, a keyboard, whatever it is. I always have stuff with me, and I'm always playing music, which always leads to an idea that I go, ooh, I'm going to remember that, I'm going to record that and get to it later. So it's just a matter of dealing with the surroundings and what I'm doing. So if I'm on tour and I know I'm going to be on tour, I take everything I need to know that I can still be productive while I'm out there in the songwriting recording sense. Right. So it's not difficult at all. And in some ways it's better, because, you know, if you're at home or you're in a studio, not that I get distracted per se, but it's a different kind of focus when you're in a hotel room and you have nothing else to do.
That's true.
You know? And I like that. I can be in a hotel room all day, and I like that. It's like I'm in that however many square foot space it is, and all I have to do is either work or sleep in that space. And I like that. So I'm just always trying to do as much as I can.
Now, the fact that you've been doing this for your music while you've been on tour, have any of the bands that you've toured with while writing this material, have they influenced it in any way? Have they perhaps assisted in any way?
Honestly, no. Not as far as writing a song goes. I mean, I don't think any of my music sounds like any of the bands I played with, to be honest with you. But that being said, with 9 Inch Nails, I'm always learning new things about electronic instruments. I mean, it's a great place to kind of geek out over that stuff, whether it's pedals, synths, other sorts of effects. I mean, obviously Trent, Alessandro, they're very much in that world far more than I am, obviously, but it's a great place to learn new things. So if I'm seeing what he's doing or what he's playing with, maybe I'll get one and I'll play with it, and that'll give me ideas, and that'll end up on a song. Right. But it's stuff that I don't think anybody would notice, really, as far as from the surface. Right. You know, because that's the thing. It's like you have different degrees of listening to music. Most people just listen to the vocals and the vibe of the song, and that's what they like. But musicians will dig into the detail and kind of look behind the surface and be like, what's making that sound, or that's an interesting change, or whatever it is, you know. And I like doing both. It's like it's simple enough to where somebody who doesn't care will enjoy it because the melody's good and the vibe's good. But people who want to dig deep, I think the New Regime's music's the sort of stuff where you'd hear something new every time you heard it, you know. And I love that about stuff that I listen to.
Yeah. Now, and just like you've been touring with so many different genres and you've worked with so many different bands, what is it about the sound that you produce that really made you want to pursue that?
It's different because I think things were reversed from the way you stated that question. I'll tell you what I mean. Okay. It wasn't like, this is the kind of music I think I should be doing, so I'm going to start the New Regime. Right. It was more so, as I was growing up, I mean, I started with drums first. Right. A couple years later, I picked up guitar, bass. A couple years after that, piano. And I got to a point where I had gotten good at all these instruments because music's all I've ever done. You know, I've been a boring kid and adult my entire life. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, I can play all these things well, but if I can't do the most important thing, which is singing, and the thing that puts it all together, then what's the point, really? It's like, yeah, I'm having fun, but I should be able to do so much more with this. Right. So I forced myself to sing, and I forced myself to write songs. I love writing songs more than anything else, but it was a matter of like, okay, now I'm going to write a song. What kind of chord progressions excite me and get me thinking about melodies that then excite me, and then the cycle started that way. So once I did my first album, which is called Coup, first 10 songs I've ever written, ever. Damn. And you'll hear that each of the songs is very different. Yeah. That's the way it is. Like I said, from the beginning, I wanted to, anybody who was into it, I wanted them to think, I wonder what he'll do next, rather than expecting that album part 2. Right. You know what I mean? So once I had written 10 songs, then I thought, okay, I want to go this direction and focus more on that. And then I do those 12 songs, which is Speak to the White Noise, and I'd think, okay, I've done this, now I want to go that way. And it's always just a constant evolution that I don't know where it's going to go, but it's all influenced from what I've already done and wanting to keep moving forward in different directions. Yeah. Now, when you mention you forced yourself to start singing, is it because you didn't know how to sing and you had to learn to sing, or is it that you were scared to sing? Not scared to sing. I have a part of my personality that's very perfectionist, and as far as vocals go, that's the worst thing. It is. I had to really learn how to shut that off because, you know, if you're playing an instrument per se, I mean, yeah, nerves can come into play. I've never been nervous. But it's the sort of thing where I can sit in a room and I can drill it out, and like I know that, and then you perform it. Right. But if you're singing, if you're nervous or if you're shy, that comes out in your voice. And for me, being a perfectionist, I want to sing the best I could. So that whole first album, I literally recorded the vocals myself because I was too shy to sing in front of anybody. So like if you were to open up the Pro Tools sessions and go to the vocal track, right, you can hear me hitting the space bar on the computer when I stop a take. And I was just too shy to do it. And obviously now I'm far more comfortable and I love to sing, and I've gotten better as a singer. Whereas before I was looking at it as more of like a composer without sounding pretentious. It's like, okay, what is the vocal melody going to do? These are going to be the notes. I'm going to sing the notes. Whereas now I've found more of the way I sing, right, and I've, you know, for better or worse, developed my style of singing. Now, what led you to get comfortable with singing? Was it the performances? Was it because you released the first record and you heard a lot of people enjoyed it? It's the performances, but I also had maturing in the sense of what makes singing good is not perfection. That's not what makes singing good. Obviously, if you do it perfectly, great. But there's so many great performances and things that people love that aren't perfect. What is perfect? You know, it's not like, okay, you played that line cleanly, or, okay, you're perfectly in tune playing a chord on guitar. There are so many things where it's almost like style and feeling that are more important with singing. Obviously, you want to be in key, but that would be ideal. That would be ideal, but it's not. It's not the most important thing. Right. You know. And don't get me wrong, I do my best to sing. This is the best I can. But it's a matter of switching your perspective. Right. You know, it's like not comparing. Do you like the Beatles at all?
Yeah.
You must. Everybody must. Okay. Here's the question, right? You can look at Lennon. You can look at McCartney. Obviously, Harrison's great too. But you look at the two. McCartney is a better singer. He's got more of a range.
Right.
He's got the dynamics. He's busier as a singer. And then you have Lennon, his melodies are fantastic, but they're kind of all right here as far as what kind of notes.
Right.
But who's a better singer? The guy who sings perfectly and does everything, or the guy who you just like the sound of his voice?
Right.
You know, it's all a matter of opinion, and there's no justification, but it's true.
Yeah, you were really thinking on that one.
Yeah, well, it's because I've thought about it. It's a matter of like, okay, Freddie Mercury is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Freddie Mercury was perfection.
Of course.
The best of the best of the best, right? But if somebody said, oh, I like his voice more, somebody else, I'd be like, are you joking me? That's Freddie Mercury's voice. Listen to it. But if they like that voice for whatever it is, whether it's the wavering tone or the frailty or the aggressive nature, or somebody could like the sound of somebody's scream more than Freddie Mercury's falsetto. It's just a matter of opinion. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's a matter of opinion more so with a vocalist than anything else.
Right.
And it's a matter of understanding that and being able to switch off that perfectionist side of my brain.
Right. That's some good points you got there. I have not thought that far into that.
What are you talking about? Just sing. And that's really what it comes down to.
That's what it is.
Just sing. Don't think about it.
Well, with you being a perfectionist, what are you like when you go into the studio or when you start writing new material, especially, a follow-up to Exhibit B?
In the studio, I record very quickly. Honestly, I've put in my time practicing through the years, so when it comes time to recording, it's fast. I mean, it takes longer to mix it takes longer to get the sounds than to record, which always frustrates me because I'm like, come on, let's just track it. So now we gotta get sounds. Right. Hit that again, play that again, and then it's like, okay, you're ready to go, and then 1, 2 takes, it's done. Jeez. And that's just the way it is. But as far as writing, like I said, I'm always doing it. Mm-hmm. So as long as something excites me, you could be playing do you play anything at all?
No, I wish I could.
Okay, check it out. You could be playing an A chord or an E chord on a guitar, right? And you've heard that chord a million times, but for some reason, the way you're playing it, the rhythm you're playing it at, can inspire a melody that you wouldn't have thought of the day before. Mm. So it could be something very simple, and I'll hum a melody, and I'll go, I like that melody, record it, deal with it later. Because I don't like to rush things either. Right. I don't want to go, I have to write 2 songs today, or else why would you force it? But so I'm always jotting down ideas. So like I told you at the end of last year when everybody kind of took their holiday vacation, I just went through the 20 or 30 ideas that I had accumulated, and I walked out with 8 songs. Wow. Yeah, walked out with 8 songs in a matter of weeks just because the inspiration's there, I captured it, and then it's a matter of revisiting it. And it's also great is that you can have something and then revisit it, and you look at it differently than when you recorded it. True. So and that's another reason why I don't like to force it. You can write a song, make yourself do it, and at the end of the day you might like it. But if you listen to that in 2 months, 2 days, 2 weeks later, you go, ooh, I should have gone there because that's what I think now is better. Right. That's a big reason why I don't like to force writing. I'm always doing it, but I don't force it. Yeah. This is probably it's my mother. It pains me that I'm not going to be able to pick this up right now. But she'll understand because she'll watch this.
Since your mom just called, what have they been like, your parents been like as far as your music? Because you've been doing it since you were really little.
Yes, I started at 7, 8 years old playing drums, and my parents are extremely supportive. They always have been, and I can't thank them enough, honestly. But the older I get and the further back I look at it, I think it's pretty incredible that they let me do what I do. Right. And they did a phenomenal job with imparting within me what's important as far as careers, business, and music. Right. Because, yes, music is fun. Music is what I love to do. It's what a lot of people love to do. But it's not all fun and games. Mm-hmm. The fun and games is on the stage. Right. Everything else, it's all business. So being so young, I mean, the way it started was I have two older brothers, and one of them's playing bass, Danny, and so they're older. They got into music before I did because they're older. And there's a drum set up. They dabble with it. I got into it. My dad realized, you know what, he has rhythm. He's actually playing. He's not just hitting stuff. So he taught me a couple things. And fortunately, I just started excelling at it. I became obsessive about it. And I just, drums. That's all I wanted to do. And I got to a point, okay, I did drums. They moved on to guitar and bass. I'd pick up the guitar. Hey, teach me something. I'd learn something. And then I'd become obsessed with it. I'd play guitar. And that's all I did, is music. So my parents understood the talent, but they were like, okay, if this is what you want to do, you need to be smart. You need to put in your time to get good, and don't be stupid. It's going to be a lot of hard work. It's not easy.
Right.
And they ingrained especially drugs and that sort of stuff. Because like I said, my first shows, I was 8 years old.
Yeah, of course. It's something that you would assume when you're touring the world anyways.
But even when my first band was with my brothers and their high school friends. So you know, that's when kids start experimenting with smoking or drinking or whatever it may be. Totally normal. But for me being a 9-year-old, my parents were like, we're going to let you do this because you have to do this.
Jeez.
But they literally drilled it into my brain, and I can't thank them enough. I've literally, to this day, to each his own.
Right.
But literally to this day, I've never touched a thing aside from alcohol, and that's after I was of age.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
so, it's good, man. I mean,
that's the hard thing to do.
I respect it more than anything because it's like they put me on the path that most parents would say no to, but they forged that path clearly, and like they were not content. I had to check into homeschooling halfway through my sophomore year because I was touring too much.
Damn.
Okay, I started touring months and months at a time at 14. Did my first tour at 13. First strings of shows at like 11, 12 years old. But first proper tour, I was 14 years old. And it got to a point where my school was understanding to a degree. They're like, oh, you can go out for 3 weeks at a time, but you need to come back at least one day to turn in all your work and go get the rest of your work. And then you can go again. But that's not the way tours work.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they go for 3 weeks, sometimes they go for 6 months.
Right.
So I had to go into homeschooling, and my parents did not let me get my GED. They enrolled me in a sort of homeschooling that was accredited. You could do an honors program, and it sounds really lame, but it was kind of like what young actors would do, that sort of thing, where it's like you have people who are diligent with that sort of thing, and I finished school a year early with honors that way. They were adamant. They're like, you're not getting a half-assed education because you want to go play. You're going to go play. We're not going to keep you from that,
right,
but you're going to do it this way. Yeah, you're doing it this way. And it was great, and I finished early, so even better.
Damn, congrats for being able to pull all of that off at that age.
But I didn't go to college, so.
But there's still that possibility later on down the road. You might do it while you're on tour. I don't know.
The only other thing I do when I'm not playing music or writing music, I'll read.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly learning stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. And some people need the classroom or a teacher, but fortunately in that sort of element, I really excelled, and I was able to just do it and do it quickly.
Right.
This is boring, but the way I did is I would do a week of school a day. And I just did it until I was done. Not because I'm crazy or it's some absurd intelligence or nothing like that. It was just like, you got to think how much time is wasted at school. Whether it's you not paying attention,
right,
whether it's spending an hour to explain something that maybe you can explain in 10, 15 minutes.
right.
But when you're left by yourself and you have the book, you have somebody you can contact if you just don't understand something. But I would do a week of school a day. And I just did it until I was done. And I would do one subject at a time. Rather than doing little bits of everything and then you have your final at the end of the year.
At the end of everything, you're just going to be a professor.
I'm giving it all up, and I'm going to go be a tenured professor. Yeah. You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
So fortunately, it worked. I could see it being a nightmare for other people.
Right.
You know, but it was good.
That's insane, man.
Excuse my tangents.
I don't even know what to say to you right now. Let's go back to the new music.
Okay, let's do it.
With writing, you've experienced writing with Tom DeLonge for Angels and Airwaves.
Experience is a good word to use.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you making fun of me right now?
No, Tom just in himself is an experience.
That's where I was. Okay, good, because that's what I was wanting to know. What was that experience with Tom in the studio like, and did that change the way that you write in any way, or did that add to new ways of doing things in the studio?
I'm smiling just because I kind of just quickly hit the rewind button on like that 2-year process of doing Dreamwalker and what other couple other things we'd worked on before and after that. And Tom's a great guy. I get along with him extremely well.
Right.
And he's fun. Obviously, he's hilarious.
Right.
But him and I, and he will say this before I'll say it, we come from 2 different places musically. And I think it yielded interesting things. There was a lot of time that was kind of him and I doing musical tug of war, you know? But that's part of why the Dreamwalker was the way the Dreamwalker was.
Right.
You know, and it took a lot of time of coming to an understanding. And so I think it was interesting and it yielded good results. But it was a matter of literally pulling him somewhere where he was a little uncomfortable, pulling me somewhere where I was a little uncomfortable, and we met on neutral territory where at the end of the day we could say, we did a good job, you and I, writing these songs.
Yeah.
You know? So it was a lot of fun, and a lot of that, I mean, you mentioned Exhibit B, writing that while being on tour with Nine Inch Nails.
Right.
When I'd come home, in between Nine Inch Nails' legs, I'd go record Dreamwalker with Tom. So there was a lot going on in 2013,
I don't know
14.
how you pull so many things off. Like,
I do nothing else. I don't want to do anything else.
it's. I've never experienced going into the studio and writing a record, but I'm sure that's draining.
Maybe it depends on the personality. Because you got to think, some people can just say, music, how can all you do be music, right? But what is music? It's writing, it's recording, it's playing live, it's traveling. So each one of those aspects of music, professional music, whatever the hell you want to call it, is interesting to me, and it's what I like to do. So I can come off a tour of months and months at a time, and if I go into the studio, it's fresh to me. It's not like, oh, I'm doing music again.
Right.
It's fresh. I can be in the studio for a few months. I can't wait to play a show. You do a tour for 2-3 months in the U.S., the next shows are in the U.K. or Europe. I can't wait to go play shows over there. It's just a matter of keeping moving, you know? So it worked out great. Once again, I went on a little bit of a tangent, but Tom and I get along really well. It's just a matter of that understanding that we came to that pushed us in different directions, which is good.
Now, going back to your music now, you're on tour right now with the Muse. You're going with Muse next month.
Yep.
You're going to go, what, the UK?
Scandinavia.
Scandinavia. Yeah. Is there time in between this for you to actually release something new, or you're going to wait another year? What is the plan for that?
I am going to wait. I'm not going to wait to write. As far as releasing things go, I mean, there's plenty of work to be done based on Exhibits A and B. So literally yesterday, we released a live video of a song called We Rise, We Fall. We have 7 to 8 of those that just got completed, and those will be coming out. Then we have a couple more videos for other songs that we want to do. And all that is work that needs to be done, but goes back into reinforcing Exhibit A and B, you know? That entire time I'm still writing new material, but I'm not rushing to put something else out because I don't think Exhibit A and B has had its fair share of sunlight.
You're barely touring them this year.
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome. Now, with Muse, you've experienced going on tour with them in Mexico.
Yeah.
What was it like being on tour with them, and what are you most excited about going back on tour with them?
Well, as far as the new regime goes, by far the biggest shows we've ever done. They are an incredible band, especially live, and their audience is fantastic and receptive. Right. And you can imagine a band of Muse's stature going to Mexico City. It was 3 sold-out nights in a 26,000 capacity arena. So it's not just that it was an arena show. Right. It was that it was an enormous arena 3 nights in a row. It was incredible. And these were literally the first 3 shows of the Drones tour. So we were playing in the round, which we'd never done before. And it was exciting because it was exciting because you're playing to people who are just hungry for live music. So the audience is into it, which is the best thing you could possibly ask for. But then it's a matter of like, I'm in the middle. I'm looking at thousands of people, but there are thousands of people behind me and thousands of people to the sides of me that I can't even see. So it's super exciting. And I think maybe, I don't want to speak too soon, but I think we'll kind of have a little leg up with these upcoming shows because it's the same tour.
Right.
We'll somewhat be a little more prepared for it, you know? But it couldn't have gone better. Could not have gone better. They're great guys. Their crew was phenomenal and a huge help because on tour it's literally the three of us. Yeah. We don't have any crew. We don't have anything. We do all the driving. We do all the setting up, all the tearing down. So to walk onto a stage like that and have an army of people who just want to make it easy for you, it's incredible. Yeah.
All right. Do you feel prepared for your band to actually do a headlining tour anytime soon? Maybe like a North American run or UK run? Maybe Mexico with 26,000 people?
5 of them would attend the New Regime headlining show. No. I feel as comfortable as humanly possible to perform a headlining show. What I don't feel comfortable about is that the New Regime, for all intents and purposes, is a new band. Yeah. You know, and yes, I may have followings from the different bands that I played with, but you have a lot of people that are scattered all over the entire world. So yeah, people may show up to a show in Helsinki or in Mexico City or in Rio de Janeiro. But is it enough of a growth as a band to warrant going to those places in our own capacity? I don't know. And obviously that's the business side that's a little worrisome. Yeah. But that's what's also great. I mean, we did Europe with the Muse before this. We did 2 shows in Helsinki and 2 in Stockholm. But I can't wait till we don't have any time restrictions on our sets because there's so much that I want to do and play. Yeah,
you're ready to play like a 4-hour set. I already feel that coming.
I would.
While you're recording some new material on stage.
Honestly, I would. I mean, going with the music being as diverse as I can make it, you go on tour and with the Muse right now we have a 45-minute set, which is a great set time. Right. It really is. It's a long time. But when you're a band who has a lot of different dimension, you can't do it all at once, especially with 3 people. You know, there's a lot of stuff that we have that's piano-based or electronic-based, and with what we have now, it's a like 3-piece rock band. You know, we try to incorporate what we can and make it foolproof because you also don't want things to be too intricate because if they mess up on stage, like computers and other pieces of intricate gear, which they always do. Doesn't matter which band, how big the band is, gear is going to fail. Yeah. But when you have somebody watching your back, it's more comforting. When it's the 3 dudes on stage, and like we did a show in Milwaukee, and on this tour, end of the first song where it's supposed to be the last big chorus, I stomped on a pedal, all the sound went out. Shit. And I thought, okay, I must have knocked something loose. I must have. Right. There's no other explanation to step on a pedal and the sound goes out. And then I was on stage, just not worrying because, you know, you have to figure out a problem in front of 1,800 people. Right. You don't know what the problem is. You're troubleshooting. And I'm good at that sort of thing. But when you do it in front of 1,800 people, you know, tying your shoelace would be a little nerve-wracking. Right. You know what I mean? So I had stepped on a cable and snapped it in half. You know what I mean? And if you had a guy, you know, a tech, for example, who's watching your back and figured out, he'd be like, I got it figured out. And I had to sit there really quickly, unplug a few things, and just do a makeshift. Right. I have sound. Okay, let's go and do the set. You know, and that's with a simple guitar setup. Yeah. If you have laptops and all these other things involved, and it's really hard to make that stuff bulletproof. Yeah. So right now we're kind of focusing more on the rock side of the New Regime with doses of the electronics, which you'll watch tonight.
Well, dude, thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry I took you for like a whole 30 minutes, but you guys be sure to check them out. Pick up Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit everything.
28 minutes of that 30 was me rambling.
It's all good.
It's my fault.
But they like it.
I hope so. I can't talk to them right now, but I'll let you speak for them.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. This is Rob signing out on Punk Videos Rock.